So how's everybody doing? Finally back here to make another video, not a sports related video. I've apologized. I apologize, excuse me, for being away for so long. I don't really think many people even care because only like 200 or 300 people watch my videos. But one of the things that I wanted to do on this channel is not only talk about sports, but kind of talk about other stuff, more political stuff. I've never been one to shy away from speaking my mind or my opinion. This video really isn't an opinionated video. It's more of an experience I've had or a story I've had that coincides with one of the more controversial issues that's facing our country today. I don't really think it's the most important issue. It's just the kind of issue that a lot of people are talking about. Again, there are way bigger issues in this world to me, or in this country to me, but I'm not trying to lay things to rest. I'm not even here to say my opinion. I know a lot of people don't really like these kinds of people. They don't really like to touch on these people because it's a very sensitive subject for them. Um, Before I talk about what I'm going to say or make my story clear, I really try to get to understand certain people instead of, being afraid of them and making a kind of stereotyped opinion about them without even knowing them. Um, about 2 days ago, I had kind of like a Facebook confrontation with HTTR for life. He's one of the only people on the internet, I'd say like 10 or 15, maybe 20 people on the internet who I am friends on Facebook with. And we had a discussion over whether uh, transgendered people have a mental illness or mental disorder. This is not what this video is about. I'd actually like to invite this person so that we could talk about it because, messaging each other is not really like the easiest way for communication, because you get a lot lost in that. But set up a dialogue with this guy, and maybe over a Google Hangout or something like that, we can invite people to kind of talk about this issue because I think it's a very important issue to talk about. Not the most important issue, but I think it's a common issue that is very controversial. Again, this is not an opinionated thing. This is an exact thing that's happened. And again, elephant in the room, one of the biggest, most controversial issues right now is whether transgendered people should be allowed in the restroom that of the gender that they identify with. And right off the bat, I've studied gender studies. There's a lot of portions of it that I agree with. There's a lot of portions of it that I disagree with. I'm not a feminist. I'm not a social justice warrior. I'm not a socialist. I'm not any of those things. Um, I come off as being a liberal, but I don't really see myself as being that because I also have a lot of conservative mindsets too. And secondly, I really don't see anything wrong with being a liberal. Radical liberals are just as bad as radical conservatives. Uh, and if you don't know that, then I mean, it should be common sense or obvious to you. Um, but without further ado, I'm going to talk about my story. I actually work with kids every single day. For whatever reason, whether I'm teaching them, whether I'm instructing them. I've been doing this pretty much for the last 4 or 5 years. For 3 years, from the summer of 2011 to the summer of 2013, the end of the summer, I was a summer camp counselor, and the camp really paired me up with the 4 or 5 year old groups, the kids entering kindergarten and junior kindergarten, or transitional kindergarten. And this is probably one of the weirdest things that has ever happened to me as a person. I never thought that I was going to be a part of this situation in my whole life. And it was really an eye-opening experience. and it's an experience that gives a lot of insight to the whole transgendered bathroom thing. Again, I don't really care one way or another. I'm not a transsexual. I'm not transphobic. Um, if you wanted to, it just doesn't really matter to me. I'm not someone who gets freaked out by trans people, by transgendered people. Um, so it was 2013, the summer of 2013, and again with groups of 4.5 to 5-year-olds. I had about 13 of them in a group over 4 sessions, 8 weeks. I think like 8 boys, 5 girls. On average, there were more boys in it because there was a separate part of the camp which was like a circus camp, and then there was like kind of like a dance camp, which was a camp where there were more girls who attended those camps. So that's why there were more boys as a part of the regular camp, the core camp. And I work with these kids, and there was a kid, again, 3 summers. There was a 4.5-year-old kid. We're going to call him X. Okay, I'm not going to say his real name. I know this kid even today. And X showed up to camp the first day, and I was not told about this. I really had no idea what was going on, what his situation was. But X showed up to camp wearing a purple dress with pink leggings and kind of like baby blue nail polish. And it kind of at the time made me and some of the kids who didn't know him a little bit uncomfortable. Because I'd never really like experienced someone like that before. Like, it was very taboo. We talk about it as like teenagers, but we never really thought we'd ever come into contact with a person like that. And I remember we sat around in a circle like as an icebreaker for our group, and they said their name, they said their favorite color or colors, and their favorite animal or their favorite food. And I specifically remember X saying, "My name is X." His real name wasn't X, but that's the name we're using, of course. He said, "My name is X." He said, "My favorite colors are pink and purple, and my favorite animal is a pony, or ponies, like My Little Pony ponies." And I remember he had like a My Little Pony backpack and a My Little Pony. He had My Little Pony stickers and stuff like that on his shirt. And I remember at the time, like, I was extremely like uncomfortable. I wish the parents had given me a clue that I would have X in my group, but it was something that I had to work with for the majority of the summer. I this kid would hang out with the girls. X would wear kind of like indigo with white polka dotted 2-piece bikini with pink goggles, and in all case in point, X acted like a 4.5 to 5-year-old girl. At the beginning of the summer, the kids would ask me, "Hey, is X a boy or a girl?" And at the beginning of the summer, I said, "X is a boy." But after, observing this kid and observing X, interact with the other kids at the camp, by the end of the summer, if a kid came up to me and asked me, "Is X a boy or a girl?" I said, "Ask X. It's up to X." In all likelihood, in all case in point, by the end of the summer, X was treated like a 4.5 to 5-year-old girl. In every single aspect, besides the fact that X was not allowed in the girls' bathroom. X had to use the boys' bathroom. X had to use the boys' bathroom to relieve X's self, either number 1 or number 2, or X had to change into X's swimsuit in the boys' bathroom. And this was before the California enacted the law where kids who identified as the opposite gender could go in that opposite gender's bathroom. And they were, it was the camp's policy that if the kid was under the age of 5 or in this group, they had to be escorted by a staff member to the bathroom. So that was what that was. That wasn't something that I enacted. It was something that the camp enacted. So either myself or one of my co-counselors or a CIT had to take the kid to the bathroom. And every time I went to the bathroom with X, and there was another kid who was either in another group or another age group was in the bathroom, they'd always ask me, why is there somebody in the bathroom wearing a dress using the boys' bathroom? And like, as someone who, I mean, you can't really share your political opinions with kids, I would just like kind of like shrug it off, like whatever. And that's the story. I know X is like 7 or 8 years old. X still dresses the same way, basically. I don't know whether X is going to make the transition into being a woman, or if this is just going to be a phase. But in all likelihood, in all intentions, X will probably make the transition to being a woman. And to me, again, there's nothing wrong with that. I just hope that X is able to not get put down by people because of his sexuality. And that's, I guess, the real fear for these people. Personally, I think the whole thing about people dressing up like the opposite gender just to creep on young people of the opposite gender, I don't think that's a legitimate fear, because people do that anyway. I do think that this is something that needs to be talked about. I don't think it's the most important thing in the world, but I do think that we all need to set up a dialogue, and I think we all need to speak about this in a respectful way. And I'm not coming on here, again, I'm not coming on here to speak my general opinion on the subject. I just think that we all need to become more accepting of the way people are instead of being afraid of them. Again, I'm not afraid of transgendered people. I'm not afraid of gay people. I'm not afraid of Muslims. I think we need to become more accepting instead of trying to belittle these people and put them down. Because there might be something psychologically going wrong with them, or this might just be a part of some people's lives. This might just be something that they have to live with. So again, that's my story. Just wanted to kind of, get that off my chest on YouTube and kind of give that perspective and give that mindset. Again, whether they allow transgendered people to go into the bathroom that of the gender that they identify with or not, it doesn't affect me. It's not something that I have to live with. I don't have kids yet. I don't know if I do possibly have kids. I don't know how they're going to turn out. And I don't know if this is going to affect them. But it certainly doesn't affect me. So that's all I got. I hope to be making some more of these videos, because they're kind of fun for me to make, and it goes past me kind of ranting about these on social media. But I just wanted to get that off my chest, and I'm signing off. It's PR. Peace. I'm out. See ya.